They've got to treat the Kangaroos a bit like a naughty kid. So everyone's talking about whether they should have this Good Friday game. It's got to be like technology off your kids. We've got to take it off them.
Threaten.
And when they're good, we'll give it back to them.
Look, to be perfectly honest, I don't mind if the Dogs in North Melbourne have it on Good Friday because there's so much footy over the weekend, it doesn't really matter that much. I think it gives them something. Just let it roll.
Between us and the Bulldogs in the last 6 or 7 years, we've worked really hard, to make this a marquee game. We're fighting like tooth and nail on this game. We love this game. We're very privileged to play in this game. But, yeah, we would not expect to lose this game.
Welcome back to Footy Classified. Plenty of big names having their say, Caro, on whether they should or should not keep Good Friday.
Look, I don't think there should be football in Victoria on Good Friday at all.
You've been consistent on that for a number of years.
But with respect to David Noble, it's not a marquee game. And when you look at the numbers, the ratings drop-off has been, disastrous. To hear Eddie Maguire, this is the most damning comment of all, I reckon, Damian, to hear Eddie Maguire say, look, let him have it, doesn't really matter, there are other good games over the weekend, we let it roll. Even Eddie doesn't care about the Kangaroos anymore. They've got much bigger problems.
Oh, they do. And look, to create any form of rivalry, you actually need to start winning games at footy, not getting beaten by 128 points last year and 68 this year by the same team. So, look, the problems run so deep. This is a club now that's won only 5 of its last 35 games. It lost the last 8 of 2020. It lost 18 of 22 last year and has lost 4 or 5 this year. It's a long way away from getting that ledger anywhere near the black. It's a decision made by Ben Buckley and Glenn Archer to recontract Brad Scott and then 18 months later to move him on. It was the whole debacle attached to the Reece Shaw situation, which had him not even talking to club officials toward the end of his very first year as coach. And then Paul Roos came in and endorsed the David Noble appointment. I'm not saying that's the wrong call, but Paul Roos is not there now to see that decision out. It might be the right call, I don't know, but he's not there. The person who ultimately got David Noble to the table is now not there. And now you've got a new person in Sonia Hood, who's a very good person and a very good operator, now left to mop up the damage, I think, created by other people, both Ben Buckley and Glenn Archer, who now aren't there.
So they turned their backs on the club. Ben Buckley quit. He'd been there for a long time, probably should have. Glenn Archer's walked away, as you say, created all these problems. Sonia Hood, who, when I've heard her interviewed, sounds incredibly impressive, and she's inherited all these issues. Another great footy boss they had was Laura Kane. She's been poached by the AFL. Another big loss for North Melbourne. Tasmania's as good as gone. I just wonder what they sort of stand for at the moment.
Well, again, someone better equipped to answer that question than anyone on this channel is someone who ran the club for 9 years and successfully, Caro. I know you had your issues with him, but James Brayshaw got that club back on its feet, and he had this to say on Triple M on the weekend with what's happened with losing 4 of their first 5 this year.
The core business is nowhere near where it needs to be. Last year, 17th the year before, right. Bottom of the ladder now. They cleaned the list out, so they are expecting some pain before things start to improve. My worry with North is when I sit and watch them yesterday, I can't see method. No. I don't necessarily see what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I guess you could probably compare them to Adelaide, couldn't you? At least with Adelaide, you can see a method with the style of play, like there's similar stages into the rebuild, and you're seeing incremental improvements and some young players starting to do some things. Damo, I guess the only...
They stripped back much more than Adelaide did, though.
Oh, Adelaide
had Sloane and Laird and Walker.
Adelaide can buy time. They're a powerful football club in a 2-team town. They're a much bigger club than North Melbourne.
If I'm a Crows fan, you know what you're going to get when you go and see it. To James's point, he's spot on. You don't know what you're going to get. The only question I have for you is, you are hard on North, and North people think you're hard on them.
Oh, yeah, but I'm hard on a lot of clubs, Kane. And
what's your relationship with the club like?
It's okay. It's probably better since Ben Buckley and Glenn Archer left, but I don't think it's an issue.
Your relationship doesn't have to be strong with the club for you to report on them with integrity.
But I don't need to say anything other than they've won 5 games of the last 35. This is pre-Ron Barassi bad. This is 1970s, early 1970s bad.
Is the AFL still monitoring? Is North still monitoring your coverage of North Melbourne?
They never monitored it, Cara. They never ever monitored it.
I read that somewhere last year, I'm sure.
Well, look, they had some issues with it, but you get called. Your organisations get called over what you say about it.
I think when you barrack for a club privately, and we've all got a club that we love, I think you're tougher on them when they're struggling because you know them so well. And I think you're probably more qualified in a way to comment on them. So I think Damian's well within his rights to say what he says.
The wins and losses, I feel like, Damian, aren't as necessarily as important right now as the margins. And they can't have margins like they did against Brisbane
Bulldogs.
and then the Western Bulldogs. You know, I think most people would think that the Bulldogs right now are a 6-goal better side than North Melbourne, given where both
I
of
had
these
North
profiles
Melbourne
are.
ahead of Hawthorn, as you know. And look at what Hawthorn did today. And look what they did against Port Adelaide.
Yep, they need consistency of effort. There's no doubt about it.